Alright, here we are in section 12.3's homework, and I thought it would be good, although it probably was shown in the last video, about how to use StatCrunch in order to find the range and standard deviation. I think it was pretty much seen in the 12.2 video because you can name different things you want, and we were focused there on the mean, median, and mode, but one of the options was range and standard deviation, so I just wanted to make sure we saw it here. So again, as you're in 12.3 and wanting to use StatCrunch, which will be available to you on the test, you're going to click on this link right next to the data, just like in the previous section, open in StatCrunch. And the awesome thing is it preloads that data. And we remember, if we go to Stat, Summary Stats, we're dealing with columns. And we want to take that first variable. We don't care about these things, but remember, now we want the standard deviation, which is here, and we also want the range. So remember, we can hit Control click and we'll get both the standard deviation and range. So we select variable 1 over here in the white box, and in the white box over here it tells us what we're going to be getting when I hit compute. We hit compute, and there's my summary statistics. Now I forgot to see how they wanted me. The range is 8, I can remember that. So I'm going to put that in there. And then how about the standard deviation? What do they want for the standard deviation? Out to the thousandths. Okay, so now let's look at that StatCrunch data. There it is. And the standard deviation out to the thousandths, that's where this 8 is. So we're going to say 2.828. Because that's a 4 following the 8, we're going to leave that alone. And so can close that, 2.828, and we'll check that answer. So this is how the first few go, right? As we go to 2, it's another one of the same thing. 3, another one. And this will continue for a while. Let's make sure that so here's some out to the decimals, but we don't care because all we're going to do is click on this button. So about half the homework is doing this. The other half is using Chebyshev's theorem, which is shown in the which is shown in the video that I made. But I just wanted to make sure you saw that there are easy ways to get the standard deviation and the range. So again, summary stats columns, we'll choose that variable 1. We want standard deviation, so we click on it. We also want range, so I'll control click on that, hit compute. The range is 0.91, I can remember that. And then how do they want the standard deviation? This time to the 100th. So I know it's a little bit frustrating, but sometimes they change how they want the answers. So remember, there's a new window, so I'm going to come over here to my stat lab. The 100th is where the 9 is. There's a 2 that follows it, so 0.39. And I come in here and 0.39, and we check that answer. Now there is one in here, right here, yeah, that has the frequency table. So just as a reminder about how to do that, let's open in StatCrunch. And let me make sure what they wanted. They wanted the range and the standard deviation. So there's the value and there's the frequency. If you remember, when it's grouped like that, we want this grouped or bind data. And so the bins is the values, and so that's the value. The counts are the frequency, and so it just labels it out perfectly. And if we remember, we wanted both the standard deviation and, again, control click to just get the range. Compute. And there we got the range of 6 and the standard deviation of 1.48. Okay, range of 6. Check that answer. Oh, it didn't like that. Okay, so let's go look again at why that might be the case. Okay, range is 6. Well, let's take a look at that. The range shouldn't be 6. The range should just be 4. Do you see why it should be 4? It spans from 6 to 2. So we should be putting a 4 in here. So I'm going to have to see why they came up that way. Check that answer. Well done. And the standard deviation, let's see if that got computed right. Maybe it's good that we did this together. So I don't know why did that as, so let's try the 1.48, make sure that's okay. Oh, 1.48, remember it says 1 decimal place is needed, so let's check that answer, and well done there. Okay, so we're learning something here, and I was surprised to see it, that it didn't quite pick up the range correctly. So let me try it one more time. Let's go to Options, Edit. If we go to Edit, Value, Standard Deviation and Range, Compute, still says the range is 6, so there could be a little bit of an issue there, but it did do the most complicated part, and that is to get the standard deviation. So, not sure, unless maybe it counted this 0 as being one of the things it shouldn't have, one of the data points it should not have. So what we could do, in knowing that that's a problem, is we could go to do this a little bit differently. We could go to Stat, Summary Stats, Columns, and remember, we want to know the range of the values. So we could just come in here and ask for the range just of the values, and now it's telling me the correct answer of 4. So kind of good that I stumbled upon that. Wasn't expecting that at all. And so, yeah, the range truly is 4. So we could get it that way by treating the values just as a single element to get that range, because it just needs to know what the high and the low is, and we can see that. And then the other option, but it did run the standard deviation perfectly under that bin data. So, all right, what you see follows is Chebyshev stuff, really from question 6 all the way to question 15. And so look to the other video for explanations there. StatCrunch won't help you. It is really just following the Chebyshev's rule and plugging in values. So you'll do some work with fractions for sure in that process. So hopefully this video helps you extend the StatCrunch experience.